Sheikh Jassim, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Mbappe, Kingsley, Coman, Eduardo, Camavinga, Paulo, Dybala, Raphael, Varane, Alejandro, Garnacho and Luke Shaw. These are all being spoken about in the news in regards to Manchester United and the club's long and short term future. So let's dig in and see what all the fuss is about today. So with the deadline for the third round of bidding passing last week, so the 28th of April, United's future ownership is still swirling in uncertainty. It is. We know no more. Hopefully there's some breaking news today. However, we do at least have those two front runners, so Sir Jim and the Sheikh, the Qatari Sheikh. Both candidates seem to have very different visions for the club. I mean, obviously it was rumoured that Sir Jim initially was going to bid for 69% of the club, but that's since been changed to kind of like 50% and keeping the Glazers on. I hate that idea. So keeping the Glazers on in some capacity. So that means that many a fan, if you go to this channel's, the United Voices channel page on YouTube, you go to the community section, scroll down, find a vote that's been going on, a poll about who wants who, and it's about 88% in favour of Sheikh Jassim at the moment. Talking about Sheikh Jassim, he's a former Qatari Prime Minister, and he apparently he's made a world record £5 million bid for United. So he wants 100% ownership of the club. Well, obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe I've already mentioned. He's going for 50% and wants to keep the Glazers on with a reported 20% stake, and then there's minority shareholders as well. But Sheikh Jassim has also submitted plans for directly investing a further 800 million, some are saying it's £1 billion, in the club's infrastructure, in United's infrastructure. So that's signaling a possible revival for, Old Trafford. So a lot of work could be done on Old Trafford. I don't think £1 billion would rebuild Old Trafford, especially if you're considering that Carrington needs work as well. So that £1 billion would go towards upgrading Carrington and upgrading Old Trafford. I'd be happy with that. And obviously some money would have to be set aside for future transfers, but I don't think that would come out of that 800 to £1 billion. You probably need that in the next 2 seasons to compete with the likes of Manchester City, Arsenal and Newcastle United in the transfer market. So on that note, Sheikh Jassim reportedly has some big names in mind for United's shopping list. They include Bayern Munich's Kingsley, Coman, Real Madrid's Eduardo, Camavinga, and Paris Saint-Germain's Kylian Mbappe. Wow. I mean, imagine. I mean, successfully pulling off those signings would be a welcome sign for United's fans. I mean, we've been chomping at the bit for, the best part of the last decade, hoping that we can get some world-class quality players in the side. But I personally don't believe that's true. I think that's probably just a bit of press hype. Mbappe, Camavinga, not so much Kingsley Coman, but Mbappe, I mean, he cost €880 million plus. I mean, that could be, too much even for the Qataris. And talking about him, PSG probably won't let him go anyway. I mean, yes, he would provide an attacking impetus for us up front because he's a quality number 9, probably one of the best in the world right now. But being valued at €180 million, I mean, even the Sheikh would probably bat an eyelid at that. I mean, it's ridiculous money just for one player. So, I mean, what's he done this season, Mbappe? He's made 32 appearances for the Paris club. And he definitely would bolster our attacking line and definitely complement Marcus Rashford as an attacking force. We can't just rely on Marcus Rashford. We do need to get these other players. Even though we've been, Harry Kane is probably the more likely than Kylian Mbappe. And according to other reports, Paulo Dybala's team has offered his services to a number of Premier League clubs, and that includes Man United. And here's a long list: Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham, Aston Villa and Chelsea. But he's desperate to get out of the club where he is. I mean, he's a World Cup winner. He's won titles in Serie A, and he joined AS Roma as a free agent in last summer. So working with Jose Mourinho. Prior to that, he was at Juventus. Now he's 29 years old, and he's still considered to be kind of like hot property, I think, especially considering his home country, Argentina's triumph last year in the World Cup. Now, in the last few years, he's struggled with injuries, but he's seemingly found some consistency at Roma under Jose Mourinho. So you never know. But personally, the fact that he is a little injury prone and he's approaching the twilight years of his career, I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. Not at all. I mean, he's not going on a free either. We'd have to spend some money on him. And obviously you'd spend money if someone was on a free, because you'd have to pay them a signing on fee, pay them their wages, and obviously their agent will collect a fee. But there's more money involved in that. So with the 2023 transfer window approaching fast, he could be, I hope not, on United's transfer list. But Dybala's contract doesn't end until 2025. But he does have an early release clause that Italian clubs can buy out for 20 million euros. But clubs from everywhere else can buy it out for 12 million euros. Again, okay, so maybe that's not one of the highest fees you've ever heard. But personally, I don't think Dybala is a player for the future. If we were going to get him, should have got him a couple of seasons ago when there was chat then. Would United push to trigger that release clause in the upcoming transfer window? I hope not. And if they do want to, they may face stiff competition anyway from other English clubs. But as I mentioned, I just don't think he's worth spending 12 million euros on right now. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. But United have also faced significant issues at the back. So, I mean, Harry Maguire isn't up. His form is awful. He's not getting regular starts. And we need to have reinforcements in that area of the pitch as well. So we need key defensive players to come in. So Ten Hag recently mentioned in one of his press conferences that while Raphael Varane may come back pretty soon. Raphael Varane may come back sooner than was originally expected. I mean, he's been out of the picture for United in the last few games, and he's not likely to start against Brighton or West Ham. But he may complete his recovery, be fit, be judged as match fit. After the West Ham game, so it could be ready to face Wolves on 13th of May. So as you know, Raphael Varane's been out since picking up a muscle injury during United's draw with Sevilla a month ago. That has gone so quick. However, the 30-year-old Frenchman is said to be kind of being put on kind of like close watch, because we don't want him to come back too soon. We don't want him to pick up an injury, and we don't want him to be on the sidelines. We need our best defensive players to play, see us out the rest of this season. There's still some very important games to come. During Varane's absence, obviously we've had to have standing centre-back, so we've been relying on Lindelof and Maguire at first, but Maguire's had some terrible performances again. So really he's been dropped, and Luke Shaw has had to step in as a left-sided centre-back with Malacia or Dalot playing at left-back. And Luke Shaw was impressed in that improvised role. And And he's done so well, but so has Lindelof. Lindelof has improved in his form, and he's put in some really solid performances, and that has led to many a United fan to feel sorry for that player, because obviously Varane's going to come back, and it's likely that Lindelof will get dropped, so we'll have a Varane Luke Shaw centre back pairing. Now, there's no room for emotion as much when you're looking to, still finish in the top four, and there's still an FA Cup final to win. So, personally, I think Lindelof would have to accept the fact that he isn't number one choice for that position. Now, whether he can step into the left-sided centre defensive role, I don't know. Only Ten Hag will know that, and only Lindelof will know that. So, I wouldn't ideally want to drop either of them, but Varane is the first choice centre back of the three. So, if he's fit, Ten Hag has no choice but to play him. Absolutely not. Absolutely no choice but to play him. So, moving on. So, after a breakthrough season for the club, obviously 18-year-old Garnacho signed a new long-term contract until 2028 recently. Manager Erik Ten Hag used that as an opportunity to encourage the young lad, young winger, to compete for a regular starting spot in the squad. So far he's played just over 1,000 minutes for the team, and he's amassed some impressive numbers for such a young player with a limited playing time. So he's scored 4 goals, made 5 assists, and for our attacking play really hasn't been the most exciting over last season or so. So the fact that we've got this new young player, he still feels new, is absolutely fantastic. That we brought him. He's come through at United and is able to become a first team player. He just knows to kick on. He's no longer seen as a youth player as such. So obviously his good run of form that I mentioned was interrupted by that ankle injury in March. But he could soon make a return and for the remainder of the season. And obviously now he's not going to that World Cup. Ten Hag has said he can't go. He wants to stay and help United fight for top 4 in the FA Cup final. So now he needs to step up when he gets his chance. Step up and prove that wing position that he plays in is his. On to Luke Shaw. He's earned an hard-won reputation as United's undroppable. Basically, which leaves manager Erik Ten Hag with a surprising selection kind of quandary. So after injuries to both regular centre-backs, Martinez and Raphael Varane, Shaw stepped up, as I mentioned before, to take on the role in the club's last 3 games. Shaw's put in quality performances, and it just looks like he is a natural centre-back. He actually looks a lot quicker a player. He looks a lot more of a ball player, read the game, win the ball in the air. It feels like it's more of his natural position. I mean, he's stood out with great performances in United's win over Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final and the 2-2 draw against Tottenham. So this revelation couldn't have come at a better time, with captain Harry Maguire also being sidelined. And obviously that disastrous loss to Sevilla. So Ten Hag himself has praised Shaw for showing a lot of leadership capabilities. That's what he said. And he seems to suit the manager's game plan well, and with an abundance of speed, ability on the ball and anticipation. I mean, there was a lot of scepticism over about him playing at centre-back because of past performances. But even, as I mentioned before, even Lindelof has started to win fans back with his performance the last couple of games. And maybe that's because he's playing alongside a more capable centre-back than Harry Maguire. So, as I mentioned, Varane's set to return soon. So, the question is, will Harry Maguire ever get a game again for United? And I just don't think he will. Based on his performances, he's fallen to 5th place in the pecking order, behind Martinez, Varane, Shaw and Lindelof. I just can't see him playing again for the club. As for Bruno Fernandes, the Portuguese playmaker, has also, I mean, he's put in some really good displays as interim captain in Maguire's absence. And he's one of those players, and he's Mr. Unstoppable. So that's really it for this video. I mean, what do you think about United signing Mbappe, or possibly I think that's ridiculous. Kingsley Coman is probably the more likely. I can't wait for Garnacho to come back and have a consistent run in the side. Varane obviously might be coming back, which is great news, which causes a bit of a quandary for Ten Hag over dropping Lindelof or Shaw. Personally, I think he'll drop Lindelof, and obviously he'll keep Shaw. Let me know what you think about everything that's been said in this video in the comments below. Please smash a like on the video, and if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.